NewGenGamers.com.
And as I said before, it was the marketing department that came up with the name. And they actually came up with this by consumer testing. Because they did some focus testing. Because the marketing department actually didn't like the Xbox name. Here's the best part. They ended up coming up with it, but they didn't like it. So they left it on a list of possible names to demonstrate during the focus testing to show how unpopular it was going to be. Guess which ones the people picked?
Xbox.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. It was probably the easiest to remember.
Uh-huh. Now, there were some delays when they were going to mention the console. I mean, they originally had started working on it in '98. So there's that rumor out there that Microsoft was trying to screw over Sega to get the Dreamcast out of there so they could do their own system. But Microsoft had been working on it before. It had nothing to do with that. They had actually collaborated with Sega, which kind of gave them kind of an inside look into the game industry by porting the Windows CE onto the Dreamcast. Now, they first mentioned it publicly when during an interview with Bill Gates. He unveiled it at GDC 2000. And once everyone started seeing the tech, they were starting to jump on board. See, at that point, Dreamcast sales were already going down the tubes. And the PS2 had already started selling in Japan.
Right.
What, you want to move on and then we'll continue the story?
I guess. I don't know.
Well, it's understandable. This is a difficult game, as I've stated about 3 times already. Alright, we're going to move on here. This is a fantastic action game.
A little bit frustrating.
It's a little bit frustrating and tough as nails, so play at your own discretion. Alright, everybody. Continuing on, taking a look at Fusion Frenzy for the Microsoft Xbox. Now, continuing with our little story here, after that, the idea was to launch the console. They wanted to make a huge splash in Japan. That Epic failed on them, by the way. They did make a huge splash in Japan, right in the water. So they even delayed their European launch, which Europe seemed to like it just a little bit better than Japan. A whole lot better. Now they had some decent launch titles. They had acquired Bungie. They were all set. And in '02, Microsoft ended up taking over second place pretty quickly from the GameCube. They had taken over second place. Nintendo had a kind of a first start because they were the cheaper console. Anytime a Nintendo console is being sold in the holiday season, it sells well. Just because kid market. Mom, I want the new Nintendo. So they do that, and it really did not take long for them to take second place. And never really got first from Sony for the PS2 because the PS2 had such a huge stride ahead of them. They just never really caught up. But they held down second place for quite some time, and then after the launch of the 360, took first place, and Microsoft was in a pretty good leading position for the good 5 or 6 years after that. It wasn't until the Wii overtook them in, I believe it was late 07, maybe middle of 08, that Microsoft wasn't in first place after that. But they still have a decent foothold on the market right now. They're at least second, if not the preferred console of the hardcore crowd, if maybe not in total sales. You know, it's the next generation after this is very divided. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's got some issues.
Now we're taking a look at basically a party game here for the original Xbox, Fusion Frenzy. This was a good game to just grab some brewskis, grab a few friends, and just screw around for a little bit. There's a bunch of different multiplayer games. You can play the single player if you want, but you know you have the 4 AIs, so it really depends on how smart they're choosing to be today. It was also one of the first ones to be released for the Xbox Originals for the 360. And it's kind of just fun to hop in and run around and do the different events. There's like 45, 50 different events you can do in this game. They get progressively harder or easier depending on, you know, what area, what you're playing on and everything. The voices are a little bit annoying.
Oh, just a smidge.
But you'll have that with any party game. You can only hear, even a Mario Party, you can only hear Waluigi go so many times before it's like, would you please just shut up? I like how this one's a little tank game.
It's good stuff.
Now, in typical ones, I believe this was, did you do a 3-round?
I did a 2.
Okay. So now after this, you should have a Fusion Frenzy. No, it's a couple different sections here. Now it'll give you the goals and everything before you start. You see Lucas player 4 there. Where are you player 4?
I don't know.
Pretty sure you're plugged into the first controller port.
I am.
Okay. Well, I guess that's what they're saying. The computer comes first, huh? What's with all the +1s? Oh, it's because you're running around with the pod for so long. Is it like keep away?
Basically. It's a team player thing, too.
Okay. So if you continue to avoid everyone, your score's just going to run up there really good. You also get some interesting music in this, kind of the, it's a lot of that early 2000s techno again. As we had mentioned in Jet Set Radio Future, it just kind of permeated a lot of these early titles. Collective score. You were kind of carrying your team there.
I don't know, did you see what the one person got?
What?
Like, 25 for the blue guy?
Yeah.
But the red guy got like 59. He was on my team. I got 72.
Okay, you should have won there.
I did win.
Oh.
Jeebus.
Sorry, dude. I get a little confused sometimes. You're still pretty far ahead. It doesn't matter. This is the Fusion Frenzy mode. Where you, kind of American Gladiator style, try to take the orb to your goal.
Really? Really, Ray? Really?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
What? You got a problem with American Gladiators?
Negative.
Huh? What? Oh, those missiles were quite convenient. And you can beat up your opponent to try and take the orb away, and if it's white, you can dunk it into yours. But if it's somebody else's color, you have to actually take it off of somebody before you can turn it a different color. You want to kind of get your own orbs. They also set up a lot of traps within the board to kind of mess you up. No, in a multiplayer game, that can play to your advantage or your disadvantage, depending. But most of the time, when you're playing against the computer, you can just kind of knock them around, like that, with his forearm shiver there. As you see, Luke is ridiculously ahead here. I think he might win this one.
I did put it on easy.
That's true. But that's a decent look at a fun party game for the original Xbox. So if you got a few friends, grab a few controllers and check it out.
Alright. You ready to move on then?
Moving on.
Peachy.
Alright, everybody, we're back. Taking a look at Crimson Skies High Road to Revenge for the original Xbox. This game was brought to us by FASA Studio, otherwise known for the MechWarrior games.
Really?
Yeah, they also did Shadowrun for the Xbox 360, I'm pretty sure. They were actually bought up by Microsoft Game Studios around this time. So, this is kind of a first-party game, for the most part. It could fall under second-party. Another thing about this system was, or this game in particular, was it was very big on Xbox Live. I mean, it wasn't really a commercial success, but it developed more and more of a following as it went along.
It had a cult?
Cult following, yes. There were people even up till the end of the Xbox One support that were playing this game on live.
Nice.
Yeah. And they really haven't made anything like it since. So, this is kind of like a one of its own. And it's very much, as you described before.
It's an Indiana Jones version, only with a plane.
Yeah, Indiana Jones with a plane, yeah.
or alive. Choose the greatest action game of all time. Ninja Gaiden. Rated M for mature. Unleash your inner ninja.
Oh, I'll take a pound of that.
Xbox, it's good to play together.